allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everyone for attending. Roll call. Even our one who was waylaid by a train is here. I did hear from Member Blage that she has an excused absence, and we offer our condolences on a loss in her family. We hope to see Member Benneker yet this evening. We were properly noticed. Thank you, Kate and Conrad. With that, we're going to launch right into Superintendent's report.
Only update I really have is the discrimination case against the district that was brought forward by Jeremy Miller after he was terminated last year was dismissed, which said there was absolutely no evidence of discrimination based on age. So that's an update on that. And I don't have an update on the other litigation involving the Vote No group. My understanding was they had 60 days after that was dismissed if they wanted to keep it going, and that deadline I think was today or yesterday. I haven't heard anything, but that doesn't mean they didn't do something. It may just mean we haven't heard yet. So as soon as I do know more about that, I'll update that.
Okay, thank you very much. Facility planning report. Just a recap of the facilities workshop that was held on July 22nd, open to the public. And I welcome the board to kind of chime in with any additional thoughts. Just try to look to the most salient points that can kind of recap what happened that evening. Just to set the stage, as our board in doing very due diligence outside of just the boardroom, in exploring partnerships and any kind of opportunity for collaboration with any other groups, has reached out to the Village of Heartland in an effort to explore partnerships, any kind of mutual growth potential between the village and our school. And so we had an initial meeting at one of our facility workshops that we were able to have Ryan Bailey, the village manager for Heartland, come in and speak at the meeting on the 22nd. We enjoyed both Mr. Bailey as well as the village president, Jeff Fannerstill. And so Jeff was able to provide, I think, a really good history of the relationships and kind of past experiences between the village board and Arrowhead High School. We kind of explored pros and cons of what the consideration is, that being potential of Arrowhead High School in its entirety being annexed by the village. We discussed the process by which annexation would take place and time frame and next steps. And that next step would be a couple of different things. Out of that, we subsequently had a discussion with our legal counsel, Bob Butler. We'll be updating on that in a bit. And the decisions were made by the board to consider a meeting to be held between our Arrowhead School Board and the Village of Heartland Board, just to really further discussion and make sure there's great alignment as we move forward. Next step from that would be that a petition would be advanced from the board, put in place to both the village for the vote on the board, and a copy would be handed to Merton as well. So just no decisions made on that, obviously, but that was a big portion of our meeting. In addition to that, we had some discussions about just general high level moving forward with referendums, community, asks, and the need, a great need, I think, for communication, education of our community around historically what has happened at our school and what our story is and what our needs are moving forward. So I open it up to the board for any other thoughts on kind of what was take home out of that session.
Yeah, I would only add that, the board heard loud and clear twice in a row that the public isn't willing to support a referendum. So before we come forward with another referendum, we need to do our due diligence and explore multiple other options to understand what we have in front of us before we come forward again. And Kim alluded to the first one, which is annexation. That's a big opportunity for us as a district to potentially alleviate some of those needs, but also consolidation. So those are the two big items that we're going to continue to explore as we go down this path of knowing that we need more done for this facility.
Yeah, and then the only, those are all perfect, great points, Brandon. The only additional thought that I had was the discussion that we had with regards to a continued discussion on and potential look at a strategy on educating the public on what the basis for the needs are. Not the facilities needs, but the history of why we're in the situation.
So beyond that, I would pose to the board next steps. It's up to the board to decide potential for next facility workshop to continue the conversation. Again, we look for that meeting to take place between our board and the Village of Heartland board. I have reached out to President Fannerstel on a few occasions to secure some dates that we can look for alignment with their board on, and hopefully have that scheduled in September. But in terms of furthering any discussion along, I look to the board to better understand your desire for another facilities workshop.
I think at some point it'll be needed. It's just a matter of timing based on the two big ones that we're going to have, the consolidation discussion with the other schools and the annexation discussion. We'll hopefully set the groundwork for when we can establish the next facility meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So TBD, but I think we should all at least plan on another one.
I agree.
Yeah, agree.
Does the need for addressing our communication strategy, our educational piece with the community, does that in addition determine next date for a workshop?
I think we need to determine what we want to communicate and why. But I think that the two items that Board Member Miller just listed off will help determine the route in which we take to get to that why, to understand how we want to do it. Because if the annexation doesn't go through, then that's one thing. If consolidation is going to be very piecemeal, that's another thing. And how do these things play into part to that overarching picture of what we're trying to achieve? And I think we still need to define those. And so maybe that's a piece that we could cover in that particular workshop. Defining what it is we're actually looking for, and should this not, what happens then, and if then scenarios. So
Sure. Yeah, I agree with Lindsay on the sequence of those two meetings need to happen first before we talk about the communications.
There's a lot of people in here.
Oh, so I was just reiterating what Lindsay was saying in terms of the possible consolidation and then also the annex with Heartland, having those two meetings first before we talk about communications or the potential with referendum or building. Were you able to hear? Did you hear that? And that's pretty much what Board Member Miller and Wood said as well.
So So the nice thing about that is we have a meeting next week.
Thursday.
So next week to continue the discussion on consolidation, I just pulled up Village of Heartland board meetings. They meet the second and the fourth Monday of every month. I wonder if it's worth it for a couple of us to go to the next board meeting and speak to the board as members of this board to say, hey, we'd like to get together. I know it's been challenging with the communication piece. What if a couple of us, or one even, came in and said, hey, our desire is to meet with your board, your board, get together. Let's throw around some dates and talk about it. So if the communication piece seems to be the challenge there, maybe it's worth it for one or two of us to show up at that. And then, having said that, I think the other piece is to continue to brainstorm on what the verbiage for that 30-second elevator speech would look like that discusses the why or the history.
Well, was Jeff going to set up something with his board and our board though? So I don't know if we would need to go to ask for a meeting, because if that's already kind of in the works.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
To have President Fannerstill go to his board, solicit a list of potential dates. We had looked at August and September timeframe, and then provide them back to us so that we could look to align the majority attendance on that.
But if we show up, it may show our eagerness.
It
to
might
get
That's
that
kinda-
discussion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah,
because I
it's
think
kind of like-
sometimes there's a little bit of a lag,
Well,
and it doesn't hurt. I mean, we're, as long as we're members of that area, this area, and, we can show up to the meeting and talk like anybody can talk here,
mhm.
maybe. Yeah.
This might jumpstart it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I think I take a different tangent. I would like to continue discussion. I think our communication needs are so great that I hate to see a gap in our continued efforts here. I think we have a story, and a story that clearly perhaps has not been thoroughly told or understood by the community. And I think we need to continue efforts to get across to our community the history of our school, the basic needs of our school, the inadequate and disparate funding that exists in the funding equation for public education, a number of things. And I think to be able to, as we talked about at the facility workshop, utilize some of our budget that we're going to pull from potentially from the annual report, correct? To be able to utilize some funding there to create some communication pieces. I'm not talking about reinventing the wheel, and I'm not talking about knowing exactly where we're going to be going with regards to a referendum. But I think nonetheless, there's some urgency to continue to communicate what our story is and what our needs are. And I can't help but wonder that we shouldn't continue to meet around that as we meet with the Heartland Village Board and as we meet with our K through 8s and consolidation discussions. Just a thought.
Yeah, and that was the follow-up coming out of the last finance and building and grounds discussions. This is going to be a continued discussion that we have in committee to try and define how and what we do to communicate. So,
Okay. So we'll,
100%.
as long as we take it up in committee
Yep.
and there's committed time
Yep.
available, I'm good with that.
Okay.
And I think so
Good with
too,
that.
to build on your point, just because it needs to happen regardless. So why lose time and not work on it? It has to happen anyway. And we learn that over and over. So we may as well work on it simultaneously, my opinion.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that confirmation that we'll have a commitment on B and G and F.
B, G, and F.
We can leave it at that. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Okay, moving on. We're taking things a bit out of order, as typically public comment would take place at this time. But I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Miller for Finance and Building and Grounds report prior.
Yeah, so we decided to pull this portion of the agenda up prior to the public comment, just to have an in-depth discussion about the pool. Administration's going to give a full update on what we had last week in terms of the committee update, any updates that we had since then as well. So we wanted the public to hear that before public comment in the event that it might change anything that you guys want to say. We will not be taking action on the status of the pool until after public comment. So even though it's on the agenda like that, don't worry, we will not be taking any agenda or any action until we hear from you guys. But we did want to dedicate a whole lot more time to this topic. Typically, all of our discussions are at the committee level, and we just summarize high level at the board meeting. But we know a lot of you guys weren't here, and we know we have a big pool constituent here that might want to hear the updates firsthand. So that's what we're going to do as far as the building and grounds. With that being said, I'll give a high level update as far as the committee goes from last week. The annexation process, Kim just hit on pretty hard, so won't go into a whole lot of detail there. We will be looking at the Lake Country Swim rental agreement as well for action tonight as well. Mr. King presented an update on the pool failures, which we'll talk about in more depth as well. We went through a 10-year capital improvement plan, which is also part of the agenda and action tonight that we'll be voting on as well. And then Mr. King provided an update on the maintenance facility. So we got a great quote compared to some of the other quotes that we've had in the past. And we'll be taking action on that at a future board meeting. We're not quite ready to finalize that, but really good update from a maintenance facility standpoint. And then the communication piece as well. Like I said, we talked a whole lot about how we communicate our facility needs moving forward, and that'll be a future agenda item coming up. So with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to administration to kind of give a full detailed update. It's very similar to what you gave us last time, Mr. King, in terms of just where we're at with the pool, the different options that we discussed, if anything has changed from last week to this week that we need to consider. And we'll take it from there and have further discussions. So not to put you on the spot, but you got to do exactly what you did last week.
But maybe happier.
So yeah, for a quick recap. A few weeks ago, our compressor went out on our Dectron unit, which is our main air conditioning and dehumidification process for our swimming pool. We have left the pool open in the interim, knowing that humidity levels would be a little high. We reached out to our normal vendor for the Dectron unit. They recommended just replacing the compressor. I asked them why the compressor went out, because this compressor was only 3 years old. They just recommended replacing the compressor. They did not want to investigate why the compressor went out. So reached out to a different vendor, brought them in. They actually tore the unit apart and believe they found the root cause of the issue, which was a faulty valve, which was not allowing the unit to function properly. So that's where we stand. We are currently without a compressor. We have through the second vendor, two quotes to repair or replace the compressor or replace the Dectron completely. The repair quote was $80,000 to get a new compressor, clean the unit, and refill with the R22 Freon, the gas to help cool the area. The replacement quote was $600,000, and I apologize, I misspoke last week. That does not include the reducting of that would be a separate, and they're still working on that pricing for me, so. That 600,000 is strictly to replace, the current unit with the exact size unit that would fit in the space. If we wanted to look to future-proof, if, in the future addition was added, we would have to look at additional expense of moving that unit to the roof to be adequately sized for any addition to the pool area, so. That is where we stand. That was the discussion last week. The board requested we have air quality testing done. A company was in Monday. I was hoping to have the results for the meeting today. I do not have them back yet. He was very confident that we're gonna be within levels, because his words, there aren't really set levels for a pool. There's OSHA standards and they're set really high. And he says he feels we will fall underneath them, but they tested for the chlorine levels, CO2 levels, humidity. There's probably one or two other carbon monoxide with the CO2 levels. So he feels when the report comes, he'll spell out a detailed report for us once he gets the lab results back. But he's very confident. Our humidity levels are high. We're running at 80% right now, which is high. You want to be between 50 and 60%. We know that. We did take a look, board requested we look at the roofing structure with the higher humidity level. We did do that. And we brought in our mechanical vendor as well to help look at it with us. We did not notice any rust forming. Structure looks really solid up above. Humidity level, and we tested above the bridge ceiling was at 60%. So that humidity is not making it up to the top, to which we could have accelerated rusting going on with our roofing structure. So we're really confident there. Now that we're in good shape. I've had a few other conversations with our mechanical vendor, the second one that came in. He assured me they will do a very good job of cleaning the unit. Now, he's not gonna go to the point of guaranteeing, because they can't do that. But he also broke down some costs for me. He didn't give it to me. It was verbally. We're looking at $32,000 for the compressor, $25,000 for 200 pounds of the R22 coolant that was burned during the other, and then the remaining is for the cleaning and putting back together of the unit. So it'd be the cost and the labor that's involved with that. So that's where we stand with that. Conrad had brought up last week, can we make the assumption that this other one was running for a while? If we do the cleaning, can we assume that we get 3 to 5 years? I feel better about making that statement today after having the conversations with our vendor. I feel better that the longevity, because they're assuring me they're gonna do a good job cleaning, and that they would be monitoring this unit a lot more frequently than the old vendor was. So I do feel a lot better about that statement, that we would get, it's not something that we would hopefully not be back 4 to 6 months for, saying that our compressor went out again. So I feel better about going that repair route versus the replacement route at this point. Ryan also has some information that he's found out that could help sway a decision as far as additional costs that may be occurred if we decide to do nothing and close that pool.
Hey, Bill, just a quick question. on
Yeah,
that
go
one.
ahead.
So was there any type of guarantee once they do that replacement of, is it like a 1-year guarantee or?
Well, we would have the warranty with the compressor, and
Which
I
is-
can't answer what that is. I would guess it would be at least a 1-year warranty. Now, that's gonna come with obviously some restrictions. The same thing, if the oil's not returning like we had this last time, I don't know if they're gonna warranty that or not. So our vendor will fight for us though. we have a very good relationship with them, so we would definitely have that warranty period.
Okay.
But he, like I said, he all but assured me that we would get a good life out of this after they were done with the unit.
And the total cost for the second vendor was, you said it was 25 plus. How much is it for the second?
That's 80,000, that was the 80,000.
That's 80,000.
Yes.
Okay.
For the repair.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah.
Just to guarantee that we would get a 1 year on the compressor.
I will get the warranty information for it. I don't have that right now.
The only reason I'm asking is that's kind of in my mind, that's kind of a big deal. I appreciate your confidence, but $80,000 for, I think it's gonna work. I'd like to hear a 1
I
year.
understand that, and as you saw last week, I was not able to make that statement last
Right.
week. I'm feeling much better about saying, yeah, that is probably the direction we should go. If we're going to keep that pool open, that this would be the direction that I would recommend.
And could the vendor also confirm that the pre-existing condition of the way the other one affected the existing unit would not affect the warranty?
Yeah.
Because manufacturers a lot of time look for any reason not to cover a warranty.
Yeah,
So if
they
there
would
was a
thoroughly
pre-existing
go through
condition,
that
they may
unit,
say
yes.
it's not covered.
That unit would pretty much be torn apart and gone through and cleaned and then put back together, and then the new compressor installed, and then the gas put back in to help cool it. Yeah.
So pretty much a year guaranteed.
Let me get that information for you. I don't have the warranty information on that. They did tell me we're probably at least a 3-week lead time on ordering that compressor and getting it here and getting that work done.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bill, I just have one question
Yeah.
about the air quality test. You know, when they did that, were the doors open and would that have made a difference or anything like that? Or are the
At
OSHA rules
that
kind
point,
of,
The doors were not open, and he was here when there was no one in the pool. He did do a control area, which was over by Ryan's office, to get a reading in the building, to have a control area to compare what those levels would be in the pool. So we'll have those two things to compare. But the doors were closed, and as I said, the pool was empty at the time when they tested.
Do we have a drop dead date as to when administration would like to make a decision on this topic? Meaning, do we need to make that call tonight to make the fix, or?
We haven't talked about a drop dead date, so I don't think there is anything. I mean, it comes down to that investment, if you want to make that or not. We can keep running the way it is, you said, for quite some time, if nothing else goes wrong. The humidity is only going to decrease as we get into the fall.
Correct. It will still be uncomfortable, and especially for the spectators. Running higher humidity, it's going to be harder for us to maintain a competitive temperature in the pool. Just having that warmer air, it's going to be a lot harder for us to maintain competitive swimming. 78 to 80 is optimal for right now. Our pool is running at 82, 83 degrees. So it'll be harder for us to maintain that level of water temperature with higher humidity.
There's no reason to rush a decision. We'd rather the board make what they feel is the best decision. It sounds like the timing is we're okay with the timing right now.
Bill, when do you anticipate getting the air quality test results back?
He thought if the lab had them to him, he would have them to me today, because I had asked him for the meeting. So I would suspect I will have them at least by the end of the week, where I can then share them.
Okay.
If we could find that out along with any warranty information, that would be great. That would be very helpful.
Thank you.
So if you're looking at, basically, I was just asked that, in a situation, our high school girls swim team started this week, so they started Tuesday. So in a situation that they were not able to swim in our pool, which right now they can, what would it cost to get them swimming elsewhere. So basically, I just looked at our normal season would be approximately 70 practices. And if we took those 70 practices elsewhere, and there's options, but they're not, right now they're hypothetical options. It would, if we were to bus the 35 girls somewhere else, it would cost us somewhere between $220 and $250 per practice to get them there per day. So times 70. Rent varies depending on where we would go. One place it would be $176 per practice. That's $88 an hour. A little uncertain in a couple others based on it. So the rough math was, about $420 a day times 70 in the ballpark, 25,000 plus or so. That's for the girls team. Okay, our boys season starts in November. Depending on what would happen there, we were looking for a place for them as well, and it wasn't here. You could probably do the math times two. So ballpark, 25,000, maybe a little less, a little more than that per season, just for practice transportation. And that's not counting missing a couple of home meets that we have scheduled, but about 70 practices.
And I think you said in the letter, like the practices would be like basically
Well,
5 in the morning or 7 in the
Yeah, I
evening.
mean, I didn't go through with securing them, but the pools are busy, right? The Hartford girls swim team is currently practicing at Germantown, so that would be one of our options. We would be behind Germantown, we'd be behind Hartford, we'd be behind others. So if I were to speculate, I would speculate it might be 5 a.m. or 9 p.m. For a 2-hour practice, 8:30, maybe 8 o'clock. Maybe it's better on some days. I would explore walk-shot options as well, but just based on the capacity around the area, I can't imagine we're not going to get times right after school like we currently have. There will be unattractive times for our student athletes. So a 2-hour block, you got 2 hours of swimming, you got essentially an hour of transport there and back. It's not an hour, it's loading the bus, blah, blah. So you're talking about a 4-hour window of time that you're transporting back and forth and so on. So again, the numbers, with the rent and the buses isn't exact, but that's rough.
So clearly a lot of additional expenses for both the boys and girls teams, as well as potentially lost revenue then, correct? From
our renter, yeah. And again, I think from a standpoint of a parent and a athletic director, the major inconvenience and lack of a home base for girls and boys who are now traveling to somewhere else to practice, somewhere else to compete. We already have done that with our divers for 5 years now, which is, we've gone from 6 to 10 divers to 2 divers, because who wants to go to Germantown every single day to practice? And so I would think that would be a natural, that would likely happen. So it'd be inconvenient. We currently have a rental agreement with Lake Country Swim. Jeff, I think that number's in the high 30s or so, right? $38,000. So that's a loss of that revenue. And obviously it's been a great partner, a community partner that's, worked very closely. And I think people don't realize how much they do. It's a cooperative agreement. They work for us and they do work with us. So yes, other factors involved.
Would you mind if I gave a little history of where we're at, why we're here and talking about this? So I recognize a lot of you guys from the last time we were all talking about this, probably 2 or 3 years ago, where we're faced with a pretty big electrical issue and it was a safety issue. And we were at the spot where it was a really tough decision to pull the trigger on a $300,000 fix at the time, just based on the fact that the pool's aging and we know that we're throwing good money at a bad pool. Luckily, that amount came in significantly under the $300,000 that we anticipated. But the board at the time was a completely different board. I was on it, and a few others here were on it. We decided to kind of draw a line in the sand in terms of the amount of spend that we would continue to throw good money at an aging or pool. And we're all kind of in debate about what amount that was at the time, and how much we've spent since that. But I still think we're under that number that we committed to. Probably have to do a little math on that. Jeff kind of has that figured out, but we did at the time draw a line in the sand. Granted, this is a completely new board. We're in a completely different situation. We don't know whether or not this affects the safety of the pool. It doesn't sound like it necessarily does. But it puts the board in a really tough position because we know we're throwing good money at bad every time that something happens here. So hope you guys can understand that and appreciate the situation that we're in as a board. I don't think we've crossed that line quite yet. So I think speaking for myself, I think we're in a good spot. I think an $80,000 fix, if the guarantees play out properly and we're comfortable with the path forward, I would support an $80,000 fix to keep this pool open. But I just wanted to kind of level set everybody in the room why we're here, why it's such a big topic. And for anyone that wasn't here a few years ago and had pretty much the exact same discussion.
Thank you for that summary. Appreciate that. It's a tough situation. Look at it. It's been for a long time.
After getting the numbers from Ryan and Bill, I just did a little quick math, and it's essentially the lost revenue and the cost to rent, and then the fact that we're busing students, or if we don't bus, then they're traveling there on their own. There's a cost to that. So that adds up to about the same cost, maybe a little more than the cost of the repair. The cost of repair is 13% of replacement. It's 600,000 compared to 80,000. A lot of times when we're looking at a rooftop unit, when it hits 33 to 50% of the cost of the replacement, that's when we choose to replace. So we're not quite at that percentage, if that's something that you want to kind of keep in mind as you make the decision.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
One other point of context too is that this is also assuming no additional repairs and nothing else on the horizon that we know might need to be addressed as well, whether that be drain tiles or leaks or anything else. And initial estimates there at some point in the future, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but I want to say about $1 million, right?
I think that's a very safe assumption.
So in isolation, and I can talk to that, right? In isolation, it seems on a 1 year return on investment to make sense, but it's very difficult. That's the complexity of the issue, is we're trying to look at an isolated situation in a very complex aging pool and facility. So it could mean in another year, it needs another $1 million tax infusion to keep running, and we're back in the same position we are today after having spent another 80. But to reinforce what Jeff had said, if anyone didn't catch that, in the first year, it's pretty much a wash if the pool kept going for the year for what it would be to bus students and lost revenue. So I just didn't want anyone to not know about that other additional potential cost that could come down the road. That is very significant. It's a very old aging pool.
Thanks for clarifying. Clearly, we don't have a sustainable situation here. So we have yet to come up with the best thing the community will support to address it. So, further from you, Chairman.
Well, I guess I'll bring up the action after public comment, or I'll at least open up the floor to potential motion one way or the other after public comment, or we can table if that's agreeable to the board.
Yeah, I think I would agree on the table, since the board, I mean, can you clarify, what are we actioning?
Well, we could potentially action an $80,000 fix, with the caveat that there's a 1 year warranty on that. That's one option.
Maybe 1 year.
Meaning if we don't get a 1 year warranty, then it wouldn't be an approved fix. And that would be one way to either to make a decision now, so we don't have to come back and have a special board meeting. That's one option. The other option
would it also be adding in like that quality test that,
Yeah,
assuming
those
that
are too big.
it's the 1 year warrant, up to at least a 1 year warranty and it passes the
Yeah.
air quality
So we,
test?
yeah, we could definitely put that into the motion. If we wanted to.
I'm in favor of tabling this too. I don't think we have adequate information. And I think it's important that we hear from members of the public who are inclined to add
Well,
to the
Or I mean,
conversation.
after,
Yeah, that
after
way
public
it's-
comment.
Yeah.
I just
After
was like, what are we
What we could
actioning?
potentially action.
Are we actioning to close the pool or are we actioning to do a quick fix? And that's where I was just seeking clarification, so.
So you're saying table it totally until another meeting or,
Or after public comment?
After public comment.
oh, okay. I thought we were going to do that anyhow, wait till we heard from the public.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We can do whatever we want. We haven't, that's what we're discussing right now.
Yeah, I like the idea of listening to the public and then let's have another.
Yeah,
Understand that.
discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two other discussion and action items. The first is approving the Lake Country swim pool rental agreement. Assuming everyone had enough time to review this, I'd entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this?
Just a comment, do we want to consider also tabling that until after we make a decision on the pool? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but if per chance the board decided to close the pool and we approve an agreement to rent it, then that doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's in their clause though.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
provision in there.
It's a-
I think the
There's no
caveat is
cost
good.
to us if that happens, right? All the time.
Or
Yeah.
We added a paragraph that.
Yeah, number
pool
5.
shuts Down.
Prorated fee.
It'll be prorated.
Okay, then it's fine. Thank
Other
you.
than that,
Yeah.
it's the same contract as the past.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor
Aye.
of approval of the Lake Country Swim Pool rental agreement, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and the second discussion and action is the long-term 10-year capital improvement plan. Any further discussion? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion there as well.
Yeah, I'd like to just once again call out the hard work of Bill and the administration team to make this happen and all the good work that he's doing here. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would add that if the members of the public haven't seen or reviewed the long-term capital improvement plan, to take a look at it, because then you can kind of see where we're looking at in regards to finances, how he plotted it out throughout 10 years, and where they're really trying to strategically focus this year. So I know transparency is key, and Bill, you've unlocked that in this plan, I feel. So again, thank you.
Great job, Bill.
For clarity, I think it's important that we understand what it is that we're approving. The long-term capital improvement plan that appears on the agenda arises, in fact, out of the long-range capital maintenance plan that had been developed by VJS. So that is the one that is approvable this evening, albeit we greatly appreciate the efforts of Mr. King in developing kind of a corollary report. Any further discussion? So we,
We don't have a motion.
we need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
second it.
Who made that motion?
I did.
All in favor of approval of the long-term capital improvement plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So we'll circle back around to pool discussion following public comment. So next up on the agenda is public comment. And I'm gonna do a quick read on the rules of engagement. Anyone wishing to speak to the board must be present and register on the sign-up form. A 3-minute time limit is enforced. Public comment is only accepted during this agenda item. Sharing of minutes with another person addressing the board is not permitted. Speakers should address the board as a whole, not individual board members, and should remain polite and respectful. Only the board president may respond to the comments or questions. The board president has the authority to ask another board member or administrator to respond. Board members will not respond to public comments unless designated by the board president. The board president has the authority to cease any conversation at any time for any reason. Public comments will be taken under advisement. If public comments are in regard to an agenda item, when the board discusses that particular item during the meeting, the board may or may not address the comments, questions raised by the public. Only the board will discuss and/or take action. There will be no citizen communications during the time of agenda topic, and speakers are not immune from legal consequences related to the content of their speech. With that, I welcome our first speaker, Kristen Newman.
Hello, thank you all for me. I just wanted to mention a few things about the pool that had not been spoken about previously, and that is that it is more than just a pool for the high school swim team, and I realize this is high school, and those swim teams are a big part of the success of the athletic program here, but the pool also provides an opportunity for young children to learn how to swim, creates water safety, provides jobs for lifeguards and swim coaches. And I just don't want that to get lost in some of this other discussion. And I think that pulling that out of this community could have a ripple effect down the line. And high school teams thus far have been not only successful in the pool, but are very successful academically and have a huge impact on the community. I mean, we've all been in here when the swim team has presented what they've done from a fundraising perspective, and they raise more funds and food drive success than many other groups at the school. And I think that we need to think about those things before we think about closing the pool. And based on what I've heard tonight, the $80,000 fix, while a large amount of money does not guarantee a long-term solution, may provide an opportunity for the members of the swim community to think about how we can have a longer-term solution. And it sounds like the cost of busing and sending kids to other locations for high school swim practice, I mean, that's not a one-time cost. That's this year, and that's next year, and that's the year after, and the year after that. So that will start to add up as well. And I think we just need to think about those pieces as well, and not just, it's just this year, $50,000 for the girls and boys swim team versus $80,000. It'll definitely continue to add up. And I think that if we can keep the pool open and form some sort of extra committee, which I know everybody would like to do, I think there's members of the swim community clearly that would show up and try to work with the school and the community to try to continue to educate and help advocate for a better solution for a pool in this community longer term.
Thank you. Jane Owen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for coming. I will start with the pool, but several other topics. Number one, I swam here before Lake Country Phoenix existed, so thank you for carrying on this legacy. And we got our butt kicked because I'm from 8 miles west. And I'm glad you did because you taught us a lot. That pool is your only connection with the community, is when they offer open swim 2 nights a week during the year when they can get a lifeguard. Otherwise, there is no access and connection with the community. That is your only thing. You painted yourself in a corner with that. So I hope you will continue it and grow it. There's a lot of growth in Heartland and the area, and we need this pool. My other topics. Annexation. They admitted this week there's an additional cost. They changed the security from the SROs from our finest in brown to the finest in blue from the local village. The cost is higher. They did not bring up or ask what are the other additional costs for utilities like water, electric, fire fees, so on and so forth. We need forthright, honest transparency before you start bringing up these subjects with these new shiny pennies you want. Somebody brought up this year that they didn't have time to interact and meet with the students like they wanted to, and what I see as part of their job. But come to find out on a basic Google search, they're moonlighting with all kinds of other civic groups around the area. Is your career here to serve the students and the public for this community, to raise these students in our next generation, or is it for your personal time? Next topic, what's the actual water usage, not the refill from the wells from the pool? We heard that there was a misread on the meter. Show us those readings. What is the actual new water you have to pull in and filter, not that you get from the water table and the wells on site? Next topic, the student results. We've seen some great increases in student results this year. There's 8 to 10 years of work those students did themselves, not the administration trying to claim the glory points for it, before they got to Arrowhead. And they're looking at their bonus coming up September 1st. I want to credit the students for doing the hard work, increasing their scores and results. This credit goes to the students, not a bonus to somebody else. We also heard this week from the board, thankfully, they finally said, hey, we need to get this agenda and supporting information more than a day or two before the meeting. That's been a Robert's Rules of Order and DPI rule for 3 days before, but they haven't stood up for it and demanded that that stuff be posted 72 hours before. Let's continue with holding up a spine and saying, get that information to the board and to the public so we know what's coming up 72 hours in advance, not on a Monday morning for a Wednesday night, for example. All committees, workshops, assemblies need to be on YouTube. You claim you're honest, forthright, transparent, but it's not accessible if you're not here. You can't have public comment at those because they say they're doing work, but then they won't put it public comment in when you're doing the work, and the public should have input to these. It needs to have public comment when there's a quorum, 3 or more of the board. Sorry, what's
That
that?
was 3 minutes.
Thank you. And it all needs to be on YouTube. Last one I will close with, and I apologize for going over time. I have heard all year in being in every committee, workshop, assembly, and meeting, board meeting, them change from Arrowhead the verbiage they use to address the pool. One time it's repair, one time it's replace, one time it's maintenance, one time it's work. What I hear is they're fudging the terminology and the spending to try to change what the public says they want. Fact is, it's a pool. And as Arrowhead told us earlier this winter, you can change that $100,000 cutoff and increase it. So let's do it. Let's take care of our school. Let's take care of our community. Bump it over that $100,000, regardless that one person has had no support for this pool all year. And call it what it is. We don't need to use our error and omission insurance because sometimes you call it work, sometimes you call it replace, sometimes you call it repair, sometimes you call it maintenance. It's our pool. Thank you.
You want to clarify any costs? Do you think it's worthwhile?
I'm not sure it's worthwhile.
Annexation. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up is Jen Romanzak.
There it is.
Okay, thank you.
It's not like a try.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I appreciate the board's thoughtfulness and considerate attention to the community feedback. I care deeply about making sure all students can learn in a safe and welcoming environment, and the proposed policy change regarding sex and gender identity could make school much less welcoming and supportive for many students. While Arrowhead does not report gender identity data, national surveys give us estimates. About 3.3% of high school students identify as transgender, and another 2.2% identify as questioning or gender nonconforming. With around 2,040 students at Arrowhead, that's roughly 110 to 15 students in our community who could be affected. To put that in perspective, that's more than twice as many students you might see with red hair in a typical classroom. Additionally, it's important to recognize that not all people fit neatly into categories of male or female, who may produce neither large nor small reproductive cells, as is written in the current handbook term. Intersex people, or those born with sex characteristics that don't fit typical definitions of male or female, make up about 1% of the population, statistically 20 students. This is closer to the rate of redheadedness. The birth certificate designations of these individuals is often based on external characteristics observed at birth, because hormonal measurements and physical development assessment can't be made until puberty. An infant obviously cannot communicate guidance based on their own intuition. These are real kids navigating school every day, and as adults, we have a responsibility to protect them, the majority and the minority. I understand the board may feel pressure from recent executive orders. However, this landscape is anything but settled. A little over a decade ago, federal agencies warned that denying bathroom access to match your gender identity could put Title IX funding at risk. This was validated by court rulings. Subsequent presidencies have reaffirmed these protections, and while recent executive actions aim to reverse previous rulings, they are currently being challenged in court, leaving the legal landscape unclear. Reactive policy changes based on executive orders that may soon be updated or invalidated in federal courts risk eroding students' sense of belonging and creating stigma. Students learn best in stable, supportive environments. Changes to policy only to be reverted will leave students confused, distracted, and threaten the unity of our community. If the school board is still convinced that a change is required to solve a problem that can be clearly articulated, it's important to consider options that keep all students safe and respected. Research shows restrictive restroom policies can increase stress and harassment for transgender students. Rather than removing protections, the board could adopt simple no-cost strategies that work for everyone. Recent surveys indicate a significant portion of the public does not actively support restricting bathroom access for transgender students. Instead, offering options for those who are uncomfortable with an open policy would be simpler to implement and would also still be consistent with federal guidance and executive orders. Addressing it in this way would have the least impact on the broader student body and less overhead for the administration of police. Accommodation options could include adjustments for extended passing periods or extra stall dividers, while still allowing all students their autonomy of self-definition and not singling anyone out. These approaches honor our shared responsibility to protect all children while supporting the well-being of every student. I urge the board to slow down, send these considerations back to committee, and involve educators, parents, medical professionals, and most importantly, the students themselves. Please lead with evidence, data, empathy, and careful thought. Please make sure every child in our community feels safe and supported. Thank you. I've included an email out to you guys this afternoon with references to the statistics and data.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Darcy Sobczak.
Hi, everybody. So I am going to echo some of the things that Jen just said. As some of you may or may not know, I volunteer with the queer community here at Arrowhead on a very regular basis. And I very often hear conversations and discussions amongst the kids about how they are bullied. And so when a transgender child goes into the bathroom of their assigned at sex birth, they are very often intimidated. So it is not a very safe environment to insist that that happens. I have consulted many children about how they're treated here at Arrowhead. And it's really unfortunate because I think that, like Jen said, the executive order is not at all finalized. It is being contested. The Seventh Circuit Court already affirms that in the Kenosha versus Whitaker case that the school district needed to accept that the child could use the bathroom that they identified with. So that is protected in the state of Wisconsin, and the current policy, the way it reads, does not seem to align with that in my reading. I've yet to get legal opinion on it, but it is really unfortunate. I do think that an open policy that everybody else can use, I mean, would be better. I never even considered that, but I would like to know, like, how many student complaints do you have from cisgendered kids about these, like actually documented complaints with administration versus the number of complaints that the queer kids get for being harassed when they go into a bathroom that they want to use. I would like to know, because that there would probably explain a lot to you guys, because especially if the kids are getting harassed as transgender and going into the bathroom you are telling them to go into, you're putting them at risk. So, that's about it.
Thank you. Heather Hanneline.
Hi, my name is Heather Hainline. I am here tonight to speak in support of a new pool for Arrowhead High School, and specifically the potential to have a new pool on its own referendum next year. The Arrowhead High School pool truly is a community resource. It's not just for the swim teams. There's open lap swim, water aerobics, and this pool is where countless kids from the community learn to swim, a critically important life skill. With so few pools in this area, we really have to keep limping the existing one along until we can build a new one. Last month, the Oak Creek Franklin School District broke ground on a new pool that is funded entirely by debt restructuring, so there was no tax impact for the residents. Is that something we could do for funding? I think a lot of people would say yes to a new pool at Arrowhead if there was no increase to their taxes. Even if that option isn't available to us and we had to go to the taxpayers, the tax impact of a separate pool referendum would be a fraction of the cost of the last two referendums. And because the pool is a resource for the entire community, it could be easier to get more people behind it. I'm putting this pool referendum idea out there, knowing that there's still questions to answer and problems to solve, but they can't be insurmountable. I'm ready to help in whatever way I can to garner support and figure this out, because I find great community value in this pool, and I hope you all will too. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Excuse me. So with a nod of approval from the board, we will circle back to that last discussion area from financing, building, and grounds before moving on to our consent agenda.
We still can't hear you, Ms. Schubert.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was saying that we're just going to circle back and make a final call relative to discussion and action on the pool. That was part of finance and building and grounds prior to moving on to the consent agenda.
I mean, it sounds like there a few of us want to table. I don't know if any of the public comments have changed that. If we table, that means we probably have to, unless we wait another month for the next board meeting, we have to wait another month to approve a plan. I'd rather not have this lingering out there. So,
My opinion for it is, provided that the, don't hear anything drastic on the air quality report, and we get a minimum of the year in some type of warranty, that I would be in favor of doing the repair at this point. I mean, that just makes sense to me. I mean, if we're talking about, a minimum of $25,000 per season, and factoring in the loss of the Phoenix contract, that washes that out. So I'm in support of that, for what it's worth.
I have a question for you, Bill. With the 3-week period where this would be repaired, would that mean the pool has to close at that time, or is that happening while people are using the pool?
That's good.
3 weeks was to get the part.
Just to get the part. It's not the total. Okay.
How long would it take to do that and repair?
I can't give an exact time because they're gonna have to pull everything back apart and clean it. We would do our best to work around the schedule. You know, we want to maintain those air exchanges, so we're gonna need to keep that fan running, so we'll do our best to where we're not shutting that down.
Okay.
If it's during the day when there's no one in the pool, I don't think there's a swim right away at the start of the school year, so that's our best opportunity during the day, and then we can hopefully get that fan back up and going in the evening when they're in the pool. While we were sitting here, I did shoot a text. There is a 1-year warranty.
Okay, awesome.
So, he said as long as the root cause is identified and addressed, there is the 1-year warranty with it. That as they're going through it, they're confident it's that valve, but they may find something else as well. So they will back that 1-year warranty.
Awesome, thank you.
And refresh my memory, what is the cost to keep the pool running, just for a year, the chemicals and water, anything like that? I think you told us that last time.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 20, was it 20,000, 22,000 or something like that? I'll pull that up, yeah.
That sounds.
It was about that, so.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go out there. And with the new information that we have on a 1-year warranty, and that there is a 3-week lead time on even procuring the part, I would make a motion that we approve this fix contingent upon successful results on the air quality test.
I'll second that.
And just to answer Amy's question, it's 14,710 was our 5-year average on pool water treatment services. And then we did about $8,400 worth of regular maintenance and repairs each year on average for the past 5 years. So 23,000 total.
Any other discussion on that motion?
Was it seconded?
Yes.
Chris did. I'd actually like to make a motion to amend the motion on the floor. I'd like to amend the motion to read that in addition to the motion on the floor, that we receive written confirmation from the vendor that there is the 1-year warranty on the condenser.
I think
now it's for discussion. That's the end of my motion. But the reason is I appreciate the text, but again, I'm just very nervous that they could push that off to us somehow because of a pre-existing condition. So if they put that in their quote in writing, then we're covered.
I think if you have it on an email, that's written confirmation, isn't it?
He said it text.
Text.
Oh, it's a text.
I just
Okay.
texted him over
Oh,
here.
it's a text.
I will get that for you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so
It's amended motion with a second.
Someone does have to amend it or it dies on the floor.
I will second that. Amendment. You're good with this, Kate? Robert's rules, they're fine.
Yes.
Any further discussion on this?
I'm kind of glad that we're doing this, except what Chris Adson alluded to before about what if $1 million fix pops up in a few months after we've okayed this. So I just hope that does not happen.
Well, that's, yeah.
But I see the value of keeping the pool open, and it is a very important part of the community, and I sure hope that we manage to find some solution to keep a pool here. Whether it be new, I mean, if we do go to referendum for just a pool, who knows? But I think it's a very valuable asset, and well, I'm for the 80,000 fix.
Well, I think maybe it's noteworthy to add just a little commentary to especially to the members of the public that are so intimately involved in this. I know we all know there's the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. We all know a lot of different people in the community, and there's potential philanthropic opportunities. So if you guys can take this to people and let kind of remind people that you might know that have the means to be a part of the solution. We're on the edge. We've been on the edge for a long time. So we want a pool too.
I would just add too that I think, Kirsten's suggestion for perhaps a greater collaboration between Lake Country Swim Team and Arrowhead around problem solving for the pool. I would welcome that. I think conversations, held in partnership on that would be a very good thing. And so at some point, Kirsten, if you or Mark, someone from your group wants to reach out and, sit down with members of the board or part of our administrative team, perhaps Ryan Mangan and the like, to try and problem solve around some of this, I think that would be a welcome thing. Anything further? Okay, hearing no further discussion. All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, point of order.
Mhm.
The motion on the motion on the table was the amended motion.
The amended
We have to
motion.
approve that first, then vote again on the amended motion.
Thank you. So now we need to vote on the amended motion.
Correct. We voted on accepting the amendment that I proposed to the motion. It's fun, Robert's rules. I'm a dork. I read them carefully. So we voted to approve the amended motion first.
Okay.
Then it goes back
Back to the original
to the
motion.
original motion as amended to we voted on.
Okay. So I'm looking for
Sorry.
a vote on the original motion on the table as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Member Edson.
Sorry, just for the record, what did we vote on the first one? That was the amended. That was the
written
option to
warranty,
amend?
the written
The written
the
warranty,
written
just to
one.
have
No, I
it
get that.
written.
Yeah.
I know what we approved.
Yeah.
The original
How do we get that for the
motion,
notes?
for Kate's sake, the original motion on the floor was motion by the president to approve the repair with the acceptable air quality report and knowing the 1-year warranty. The amended motion, which was the first vote, was my suggestion to get that 1-year warranty in writing. That we voted on and approved, then we voted a second time to approve the amended motion.
Okay, thank you,
Sorry,
everyone.
Robert's rules stuff.
Thank you.
That was really good.
That's good.
Good for you.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is our consent agenda.
Awesome.
Our consent agenda this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Contains our regular board meeting minutes, our bill payments report, our donations report, and our personnel report containing resignations, retirement, and new hires. If I could at this time ask Member Angeli to recognize our donors.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. First one from Eaton Corporation, a donation to our Technology and Engineering Partnership Program for the amazing amount of $7,500. Donation from Mark G. Sellers Foundation, again to Technology and Engineering Partnership Program for $20,000. Is that an annual?
This is the last year of a 5-year
That's the
commitment.
last year.
As long as we get the 20,000 in matches, he'll get the 20,000. So
Okay.
this is that's 100,000 for him.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Incredible.
That's amazing. And then finally, from Generac Foundation to the Wind Ensemble, $250. Thank you, Generac. And that's it.
Thank you, Member Angeli.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Any particular agenda items that board members want to pull out for individual discussion? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our consent agenda carries. Um,
Can I ask something? I know with the teacher, are we still looking for teachers or are we full now? I just saw 2 resignations in one.
I think there were 2 vacancies. Business,
Just one in the long-term settings.
with a long-term French.
Long-term French in the business.
Okay, we'll move on to the rest of the committee reports. Just reminding board members of the timing, having come out of committee just recently. Use your discretion as to how much of the committee report needs to be rediscussed. So given that, we will launch into curriculum committee report with Chairwoman Hemmer.
And Chairwoman.
And Chairwoman Wood. And this is just force of habit.
Yes.
My apology.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that we did was reviewed the opt-in sociology parent permission form. And we just discussed that in depth and offered a few suggestions. And it looks like Sue did really, in my opinion, a great job on coming up with the sociology parent permission form. So I hope everyone had a chance to review it. It was included in the board brief. There was a link. So any comments from anyone, or is this good to go?
Looks great.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sue. And then the next item that we discussed, we knew the new film classes were coming up, and a few of us, I think, were under the impression that we had to kind of review them again, and we wanted to see what films were being selected, but that was really not truly the case. This is a pilot program. Once everything is set in stone and gets to go ahead, and if it becomes a permanent class, at that time, the curriculum committee would submit for committee approval. So any questions on that one? And that was our committee. So thanks for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you both.
And the upcoming curriculum committee in September will be a little more robust.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks for that color on the robust.
I love that word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, next up is Personnel and Legislation Committee report with our co-chairs, Angeli and Blage, and of course, member Blage is absent this evening. So
I guess I'll
take it
I'll
away.
wing it for the 2 of us then. Just highlighting our previous meeting, we discussed the possibility of inviting our legislators here for a visit, and I guess that will still be up for discussion at a later time. And then on the personnel side, we discussed substitute teacher pay rates. And I believe that is on the agenda this evening.
It is, we are looking at, as an action item, the substitute teacher pay schedule. Again, that was reviewed in committee and everyone has had the opportunity to review. So at this point, I'm looking for a motion to approve that pay schedule.
I'll make a motion.
I will second that motion.
Is there any further discussion?
I'm glad we're getting competitive.
Yeah, and if it helps, if it helps bring in good subs.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion carries. Thank you. Anything further on personnel and legislation?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Chairman Ferris with Policy Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to thank everybody, board members, and also administration for being patient with me as the policy chair, as I was patient with you for a couple of years. I know we've kind of gotten we've had to kind of like knock through a few things in the last few months. And I know it's been very busy. I don't foresee that going too much further. I feel like there's been several policies that this board has had that we've kind of held on to for a couple years to allow the ability for administration, especially for our new superintendent, to do his great work with our school. And we already see the fruits of that labor coming together. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your understanding with a couple of months of, just plowing through and getting things done. That's coming probably to an end very, very quickly. So just wanted to put that out as an initial note. Our policy committee was a robust agenda. And to the member of the public that said that we have yet to get legal opinion, that is about as far from the truth as possible. We had our attorney, Bob Butler, come in, give a brief overview of all the legal, where things stand with regards to the first policy that we're talking about that has potential discussion and action, privacy and intimate spaces, which seems like it should be common sense, but it's not always the case. But we're getting back to that place finally. So this was originally a unanimous discussion for all board members wanted to move this forward. I believe it was in the June committee meeting. We went through the due diligence of working with our school attorney to make sure that this was crafted correctly and in conjunction with things that have been happening from the Seventh Circuit and also from the Supreme Court, and a lot of things that have been happening on this recently, and they keep changing and keep happening. And he feels very confident that we're in a good place here. That's going to be open for discussion and action shortly. He was in the meeting for around 15 minutes, which was great. We got a lot of good information from him. We continued to discuss policy 5136 with regards to a potential bell-to-bell. This is the one thing that came from the committee meeting with regards to bell-to-bell, is we are working in conjunction with administration as their request was. This is something that they saw as the right answer is to implement it in the beginning of a school year. So all board members agreed with that idea. And we're going to be working forward, working in reverse, coming up with a plan of attack to make sure that we're in a good place. And then this won't be voted on for quite a while, but we're going to be talking about it in future policy meetings. And then the last piece that we discussed basically was potential revisions to a new textbook adoption policy. Really working in conjunction with curriculum. I know that your next meeting, you're going to be discussing this as well. So that's basically be handing the baton over and potentially, maybe it'll be coming back at some point, but we'll run the race. That's everything. And I'll turn it over to Madam President for discussion and action.
Thank you, Chairman Ferris. So at this point, we have action on proposed new policy 5518, privacy and intimate spaces, student use of restrooms and locker rooms. I would entertain a motion at this time for approval.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Just one point of clarification. The request that I had for Bob regarding, for example, when opposite team coaches are here, opposing team coaches are here of opposite sex, being able to go into that locker room while their kids are clothed. It says staff persons of an opposite may enter. Would this preclude an opposing coach from doing that? Okay.
Their staff.
Yeah, because
this does apply to non-staff.
They are staff. They're just staff for that other team.
Yeah, coaches are considered staff.
I meant from a different school.
Okay. But yeah,
I don't know if that matters here.
Okay. My understanding is Bob wrote it with the idea that they're staff, adults.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we need to pull it out at this point.
Okay.
Something to think about.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approval of 5518, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion carries. Thank you. Okay.
Madam President,
Yes.
excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize, I forgot to mention that the next Personnel and Legislation Committee meeting is scheduled for September 4th. I apologize.
No, not at all. And I do appreciate you bringing it up. We're going to round on committee schedules
Okay.
overall with the
apologize.
board approval. And no, I think it's a hanging chad. I think a lot of
Hey,
it.
that's a throwback.
So we'll get there. Thank you for bringing that up.
I see. Yep, you're right. Sorry.
And then
Jumping ahead.
under other reports, well, Member Blanchet is not here to represent the WASB portion. Just wanted to remind the board that were Arrowhead to consider writing any resolutions for adoption by WASB, those would need to be in by September 15th. So that's it on WASB. Our CISA representative, anything, Member Angeli?
I have nothing.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I have nothing.
thank you. And then last on the list is Arrowhead District School Board Assembly. Just a reminder and a big thanks, as I'm hearing from many on the board who are continuing their commitment to attending these assemblies, which again have been created with the intent of collaboration with our K through 8s. The next assembly meeting is scheduled for August 21st at 6:30 p.m. Here at Arrowhead South Campus Library Lab A, open to the public. And the agenda includes continued discussion on consolidation, exploration of a future meeting with our elected officials, collaboration on cell phone policy, and exploration of a shared contract for communication services for the Arrowhead District. So looks like a robust agenda in our future. New business, discussion and action to approve the 2025-26 student handbook. Everyone's had an opportunity to review those changes, which generally speaking are more reflective of recent policy change than anything, and a few grammatical whatnots. And
Kate, didn't you redesign this? Did you redesign this?
No, that's the course guide.
Was it the course guide? Okay.
Designed course guide for next year.
I knew you were
She
working
did an
hard on
amazing
that. And design.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. So thankful.
Well done.
excellent, okay.
My only question, is there anything from the policy we just passed that needs to be added to this as a result?
It's now a live document, so we can look back at it.
Okay.
And make adjustments that are necessary. We tend to do that, and then we have an update page on the front of it for anybody who
Okay.
accesses online.
Great question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Any other discussion?
Just wanted to thank the administration for putting that together so cleanly for us to review. It's a lengthy document, so calling out the changes very clearly is helpful. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. That was a big time saving.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of approving the 2025-26 student handbook, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion, I'm sorry.
Wait,
We didn't
we
make a
need a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Didn't we
and
have a
second.
motion?
I don't think so.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Oh,
I'll
gosh,
second
I'm
it.
so sorry. I'm trying to move along here and I skipped right past the whole Robert's rules. And where is Member Adsit when I need him the most? I'm so sorry. My apologies.
Did I miss something?
Nope. Okay, do we have a motion?
Yep.
Okay.
I made that.
Yes,
Oh,
her second.
yeah.
I seconded.
Second.
Mhm.
Any more discussion?
Nicely done.
Mhm.
Thank you, administration.
And good catch. Okay, let's move on to approving the 25-26 student handbook. All in favor, say aye.
We need a motion.
We need a motion.
We just did that.
We just did
We
that.
just did the
We
motion.
did
No.
that.
So they just took a second. vote.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same thing.
never mind.
Oh, sorry.
I thought we were on the next one.
We took a vote on something that had no motion. I'm so sorry, Kate. We're messing up Kate here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kate.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
Everyone must be
So,
tired from the
so we've got
storms.
Student handbook.
unanimity in our yeas. Yes. Okay. Moving on to new business item B, action to approve the 25-26 parent athlete co-curricular code of conduct handbook. I'm looking for a motion, please.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, board. Motion
There it is.
carries. Last up is discussion and action on the 25-26 committee meeting schedule. So here we,
There it is.
there it is. We need to kind of arrive at what the board and administration really want to do moving forward. Do we revert back to our old committee schedule that we had in place prior to summer with our 6:45 meetings, kind of on a frequency that had been predetermined in the past? Or is the board's pleasure to proceed with the all committee meetings that had taken one additional night every month, but combined all committees at one time? Open for discussion here.
I could say, I know board member Hemmer had made a comment in the last discussion about maybe doing 2 one night, 2 another night. Because I think evenings may work better for a lot of, not this board member.
He's got little
Not
kiddos.
that one, but maybe some other ones. I did want to put that option potentially on the table. I'm gonna show up regardless. And if I can't, I'll let you all know, but it's a priority, so. But I did want to put it out there just in case it might work with other people
Sure.
or whatnot.
Here's what one of my concerns with that
Mhm.
is that, especially with curriculum, because we have had and enjoyed the amazing
Teacher,
opportunity. to
yeah,
have
that's
teachers
true.
come in.
Yes.
I think it's, even though it's kind of a crunch time to have them come in and then they have to dash off, but I think it's really handy that,
Yeah.
I mean, even though they have to come in a little early, I think that is easier than to ask them to come back.
In the evening.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can
I
appreciate
just
that.
am thinking that,
Is that pretty much the case, Sue, from your read?
Yeah, I would say that if, they're already driving into school in the morning, it's probably more convenient than not. We could try and, as we schedule that, or however that unfolds for the year, to make sure they've got resource period coverage perhaps, or some do, so they can stay a little bit longer, but yeah, I would say on the whole, it would probably be more convenient for staff in the morning.
Yeah, there's kind of pluses and minuses for both,
Right.
because
Yeah.
the resource period does interfere, and I know some have had to leave because of that, unless they do get coverage. But in the evening, to leave and come back, or even if a lot of the teachers, staff coach too, I do believe, so if they're busy with kids after school, that might be a bit of an issue. So even though it's really hard at 6:45, especially in the winter, I'd probably recommend keeping the mornings just the way they are.
yeah, even, as it relates to buildings and grounds, if we need to see Bill King, that would probably be easier to have, if, have him here.
Yeah, but maybe still keep the 2 blocks during the summer, the 2 evening, 4, and just, because the summer is a little, I don't
I
know.
think the summers,
It's a little,
summers seem to work out pretty well.
yeah.
But during the school
School year,
year, I
keep
think
it at
it's better to
6:45.
get back to 6:45. I don't know, what do you think?
I'm kind of high on the one extra meeting a month. I like it for a number of reasons. I can appreciate that in terms of, asking our faculty to be here and our administrative team. It's another evening, long evening at times. But we kind of pound it out at one time and everything's done. And I really appreciate the level of involvement of a full board. I mean, which, certainly board members do not have to stay for the entire all committee meeting. You stay for your respective committees at best, but nonetheless, each time, my observation was that everybody stayed. And so we really end up with a very, well-informed board leaving every committee meeting. So I really appreciate the prospects of scheduling it once a month.
For my own reasons, I agree with like the once a month. It is one of those things. If you can make it, great. If you can't make it once a month, then you don't have 4 committee meetings at all. You're washed out. But at least from my point of view, I do prefer the one night, just because, at least with my work, it's like all my bosses are on the East Coast, and I'll attend these, but more likely I'll be more remote than in person. Just because of work obligation.
Sure.
Because they don't realize that I start at 8 o'clock. Sometimes it's 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock their time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't foresee a whole lot of in-depth policy development coming down the pike. So I think that's going to actually start to decrease in the time, kind of the way it had been for the last couple of years. So I think that's going to eliminate a lot of time absorption. I like the idea of the one day. I know that I'm more concerned about the 2 people with little kids, because I know the nights are precious and special. So I don't know.
I just feel like we're not we may feel like we're more productive as a big, long committee, but we're not. I mean, people zone out after 3 hours, and I'm not at my best when personally, when I get here, at 6:45, I'm ready to roll, and mentally I'm sharpest. And I feel like we lose a lot as we continue to talk about in-depth. I feel like we need to dedicate our time to in-depth discussions that we can think rationally about in smaller chunks. We lose, unfortunately, I feel like we do lose some focus. We get tired. I'm not as sharp personally. I don't know if anybody, this is getting close to my bedtime. So, I think we can be better as a board.
Well, that's why I suggested breaking it up into 2 committee meetings one evening and then 2 next, just to shorten that, because I know I start to, after a few hours, you're like, oh my gosh, it's hard. After working all day and, just everything else.
The other option is to leave it up to the chair people. If the chair people want to combine into a meeting.
Well, our committee works best in the mornings, though, the
Yeah.
6:45, especially with the teachers coming in, which I think is the highlight of our committee.
It
It's,
provides so much
Yeah.
more context to
So-
so many more things. So that's really special.
And maybe to your point, I mean, finance and buildings and grounds is always going to it's kind of its own thing. You guys, it takes up there's a lot of information that has to be shared there constantly. Perhaps you and I can combine as time goes on as well. But I think that maybe that's something.
So I'm kind of hearing 6:45 is overall the preference. Is that what I'm picking up on?
I was just going to ask about administration. What's your guys' point of view for committee meetings? I didn't know with the 6:45, when you're buttoned up against the 8 o'clock or evenings.
We'll make it work whatever the board wants to do. There's pros and cons to both.
Well, we have an opportunity for preference here as well, not just making it work. Do you have preference?
I don't know.
Jeff, Adam, Sue,
I like
Conrad?
mornings myself.
I support mornings.
I like mornings
Just
as
from
long,
the I mean, I work through, so, right, by the evening. And
but a hard stop
15 or
at 8.
16-hour days.
Yeah, it does get late.
Yeah, hard stop at 8
After
AM.
working for
Yep.
10 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so overwhelmingly, I think we're back to 6:45. So Kate,
Should
we
vote
have,
on
pardon?
it? Wanna vote on it?
It is on the agenda for an action item, I think.
We put it on the
Yeah.
agenda if you wanted to vote on the schedule.
Yeah,
It could be any vote really,
Oh.
right?
Mm.
If you want
It
to vote
doesn't,
on
I don't think it
the
requires
time or.
a vote to go back to a schedule. That's just what we've decided. So we're good with that. I don't think we voted to go to the summer schedule either.
Oh.
We just did it.
That's
So,
Kind
of just a,
Yeah, that's what I was
Schedule, I got you.
but these are the potential dates then for each of the committees. And so, Kate, are you looking for then a confirmation from each of the chairs for the committees that moving forward, this schedule will work for you? Is that what you're looking for? Or would that be helpful?
I think it would be helpful because what I would like to do is just put all of these dates on everyone's calendars for the whole year. And then if we have a meeting that we're gonna cancel just because of lack of agenda items, then we just take it off. Then you're not wondering when we have meetings. So if this is a good potential schedule, I'll just go with it for now.
Sure.
And then if we can need to adjust, which is why it says potential. So
Super.
if we have to adjust.
Okay. And we made those changes last year. There
Yeah.
was meetings we switched out, but
Yes.
super. Okay, sounds like everyone's on board with this.
But I would recommend keeping it, going back to the block of 4,
Yeah,
Next summer.
twice in the summer. Yep,
yeah, that's nice.
yeah.
I think it worked well,
Yes.
but we'll get there in spring.
Okay.
Okay. Future agenda items.
I did have a question. I know at one time, and I was absent for a couple committee meetings, but we talked about the cameras, like the live cameras for cars coming in and out with the health. Yeah. Has there, and I didn't notice that on anything, committee meetings or anything, was that discussed before of discontinuing the talks, or is it still on the table, or where do we end up?
We have a closed session for security review coming up. Is that the 19th, 16th, 19th, somewhere in there? The 19th.
Okay,
Closed session, safety meeting, 6:45.
on the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I do, you still new business
Future agenda.
or
items?
future agenda items, yes. And I don't know if you received this as well. It's the pumpkin party in the park, 2025, which is something that, well, we did for the village of Heartland and the library, you know, their trick or treating. We did this last year as an opportunity for community engagement and educating the community around the referendum. However, I thought this might still be a fun opportunity.
I'll totally be there.
We could still do this.
Yeah.
It is amazingly huge, isn't it?
It's kind of big. I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But I thought this would be very fun, and I would absolutely do this with you if you wanted to. Yeah. It's something free that we could do. I thought this could be just a fun opportunity to engage with the community. And we could have information for them on upcoming sports events for the school. Maybe if there's something for the drama department, whatever.
Information about a pool.
Yeah, the pool, for example, whatever. But I just thought this would be fun.
Interesting.
I love that. So nerding
We
out a
should
little
probably
bit.
try to get that out to the PTO as well. Adam Kurth, do you know if the PTO is aware of that function? And
They're aware. I don't know if they're planning on participating this year or not.
Okay.
We have a meeting actually on Tuesday next week, so I will confirm. whether they're part of it or not.
thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward.
I just thought it would be fun because it was very fun.
Okay, anything further on agenda items?
I have two quick ones. And were you guys planning on doing something with Act 95 at our next meeting?
Yeah, that was one of
That's-
our topics.
That's one of your topics? Okay,
coming
cool.
up, yeah.
Okay, so that's that.
What do you have anything specific?
No, I just didn't know if, I know that was broached earlier, so I didn't know if you guys had it on your agenda
Yeah,
items.
so there are several topics related to the question that Daryl asked regarding
Retaking
kind
tests.
of impact and implications related to college application processes. And then there was Lindsay's question regarding summer school repeating classes. So those are the two pieces I thought we would review. And then I talk a little bit about how the rank has unfolded since we went to weighted grades.
Cool.
Cool?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and then my only other one was, if anyone wants to potentially join me in Heartland on, the second Monday? No, we just did that. So it's the second Monday and the fourth Monday, so the fourth Monday of this month, just to kind of have our presence there.
I'm happy to go with you to do that.
Okay.
So let me, my schedule, but I'm totally down. Yeah,
Okay.
so that would be the 25th.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah, I think it'd just be nice to have a presence there and not to be, not to be overly but just to
Storming the class meet with us.
yeah, just to have a presence there and to start to really kind of get this moving a little bit more.
Yeah, so is that right? Is that the 25th? Is that what you're saying?
Looks like, yeah.
That
So
would be
it's
the second Monday.
Yeah, the second and the fourth, right? So the fourth Monday of this month is actually the 11th, 18th. Well, oh yeah, you're right. Yes, the
Okay,
25th.
so yes, I can join you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Ferris. At this point, I would entertain a motion to convene a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851C.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Why don't we take a 5-minute break before we launch into closed?
No, I'm gonna call my Joker